Good afternoon everyone, I'm Gary Martin. Today we're up at Wortley Golf with Jack, our handicap golfer, where I'm going to be teaching him, a shot that you to handicappers need to have in your armour if you're going to get to a low handicap.
Definitely.
Let's do it.
Let's do it now.
You can't say that.
Do it now.
Jack, I want you to demonstrate to subscribers how you would play it, when you've got 100 yards, which is that yellow flag. So use your imagination, guys. The yellow flag is 100 yards, and Jack's going to show you how he would play from 100 yards with his approach wedge. So you caught the top of the ball that time. Try to think about brushing the surface. That's better. That was better, weren't it? That was a good strike. But it's come up a little bit short. Probably about 70 yards that. So you can imagine Jack, to try and get that 100 yards, has got to really thrash it, hasn't you? That one might just be 100 yards, but it's not a very good strike. That one's 100 yards, but it's going in. So I think it's pretty safe to say, it could go on as long as you want here. It's not going to be consistent, Jack. No, you're going to have to hit it your absolute best to get 100 yards. And that's what I see from handicap golfers, because they tell me that it's much easier for them to play a full swing than it is play a three-quarter swing, or an easier swing. And I'd agree, if you've not been taught how to play a three-quarter swing, how to change your setup. And that's what we're here for today, guys. I'm going to teach you how to set up, because it's alright your friend's saying to you, look, you're swinging too fast, you need to slow it down. There's a few changes you need to make before you do that, and that's where people go wrong, because what they do, they stand to it like they're going to hit a full shot, and then they just slow the swing down and it don't work. So, I didn't know this until I got to a mid to low handicapper, and I thought, if someone like Jack or you high handicappers, watching today, it's absolutely critical to show you how to stand to the ball when you're trying to play a three-quarter pitch shot, and slow that club speed down. So when I told you to use your imagination, what I wanted you to imagine is we've got the pin at sort of 100 yards. I know you can't see that at the minute, but I want you to imagine trying to flight the ball 80 yards. So we're going to be choosing like an 8-iron when we do this shot. Yeah. We're going to be playing an 8-iron and trying to visualise landing the ball 80 yards, and then we'd expect it to run about 20 yards. It's going to hit the floor and it's obviously going to run forward. And that shot's much easier to control, Jack, than hitting a full shot with an approach wedge. But there's some changes you've got to make if you're going to do this. All right. If you were to stand in a, like you're hitting a full shot with an 8-iron, and then just sort of take a three-quarter swing and slow the swing down, you're most likely not going to strike it very well, because your lower half is set up for a full shot. So it's going to be hard to square the club face. It's going to be easier for your upper body to take over. Yeah. You're going to come over the top. You're going to get yourself in loads of bother. All right. So when you're trying to play a three-quarter shot, a couple of important changes. First of all, we need to narrow your stance. So we need them feet to be inside shoulder width. Yeah. So I always say the outsides of your feet on the insides of your shoulders here. And then from there, your hips will have a little bit more mobility. So, you still have to think about your hips turning to target, but they'll have a lot more mobility, and it'll be easier for your lower half to turn, so that your upper body doesn't, take too much control. We don't want to come over the top. And now from there, what I would do is, once you've got your feet the right width apart, you just withdraw this left foot a couple of inches. So you're just pulling your toes. So instead of being square, this left foot is coming back a couple of inches, or your target foot if you're left-handed. And then from there, it's going to be much easier for you to clear them hips. It creates a little bit more room for you to turn your hips through, and that's going to help you square the club face. And then when we're talking about speed of swing, that's closely related to the length of your golf swing. So the longer you swing that club back, the more speed you're going to create. So I want you to think about, guys, is getting that club head to the height of your shoulder. Alright, so try to feel like you're only taking that club head back to the height of your shoulder. It might go a little bit past that, because it's obviously feel and real are two different things. But if you can try and visualise or feel that your club head's going back to your shoulder, it's certainly not going to be round here, is it? No. So try to feel like your club head's back to your shoulder. And then from there, you're turning your hips and chest through, and you're trying to get your hands working at the same speed as your body. And that one, it's come out a lot lower but when it lands, it's going to obviously roll forward. But there's so much more control in it. I'm going to demonstrate one from this angle, and I'm going to get Jack to, try. We're going to try and get Jack playing this shot and see if there's a bit more consistency. We're going to go for a routine and start by making sure our feet are no wider than our shoulders. So the outside of the feet are on the outside of the shoulders here. We're going to withdraw that left foot. So I'll almost feel like my hips are a little bit open, but my shoulders are still square to the target. And then from there, just having that rehearsal, checking it, there's a feeling of the club head a bit more sort of to the height of my shoulder. As I say, it might go past that, but it's a feeling that I get. And from there, I've got to make sure I turn through and complete the turn, finishing with hips and chest to target and completing the follow through. Enjoyed that shot. It's one I actually need to practice more. I don't know if you can see here, obviously heels off the floor, chest to target, and then finishing, only that little bit of a pause at the end, because then obviously you're swinging into a consistent finish position. It's very important to think about your finish. You're swinging into a position, you're controlling that speed then, by having a stop point to your follow through, it's helping you control speed through the ball. Alright, so Jack's going to do this with an 8 iron. And it's something you can practice with, 7 iron as well, because I think the stronger the club, the more likely you are to swing with control, because if you swing too far or too fast, it's going to, overfly 100 yards. So it's good practice to practice, obviously, improving your club speed with your shorter irons. You shouldn't be playing full shots. Do you want to just have a practice swing first, so get a feeling of that club head only going back to the height of your shoulder, and then through. Good. And I'm not saying that this 8 iron is going to go 100 yards. This is something we're going to learn through practice. So visualise, Jack, you visualise trying to land it 20 yards short of that flag. It might not roll 20 yards today because it's very wet, but out of the course in real conditions, I'd expect it to jump forward with an 8 iron. Fantastic hit. Wow, look at that. You'd be over the moon with that, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
And what you're seeing today, guys, is just real. Jack could shank one here, he could, fin one. He's a new golfer, but he's going through the process now to get better. Whether he gets it right or wrong today, to me as a coach, it's not so important as long as he takes away this information today and he rehearses it. And if you're having lessons with coaches, they are very sympathetic. We've all been newer golfers, so we don't expect instant results, but we expect you to take this process away and obviously rehearse it, and then results will become more consistent. I mean, for Jack, it seems to just be working at the minute. That was fantastic. And what would you say your club speed is? If when you're in your full shots with your irons is 100%, how would you say this is?
Probably about 60%.
60. So I mean, that's a massive reduction, isn't it, in club speed? And feeling your swing of length, your length of swing as well. I sometimes speak that quick, I don't know what's going to come out. That's brilliant. You've hit 3 in a row. I've never seen you so consistent in my life.
No.
As you're making, so it's just as simple as narrowing your feet so they're the same width as your shoulders, or the outsides of your feet are on the insides of your shoulders. Withdrawing that left side foot and then thinking about the swing, the club head only going to the height of your shoulder. Well done. And you could see there on camera that Jack swung it past his shoulder, but for him, he felt that it were his shoulder, and it's helped him reduce the club speed. So guys, we're going to keep it short and sweet for today. I think sometimes you can go too far on these things. I think it's been clear to see that it's helped Jack make a little bit of improvement, and I'm sure if you rehearse this and practice it, you'll believe in it more. And you can start to do this with other clubs in your bag. You can start to do this with a 9 iron and a pitching wedge, and if you're really smart, you get your laser out and you start to look at how far these balls are pitching, and then you can calculate your roll, can't you, depending on whether you're playing in dry conditions or soft conditions. And that's how to become a better player. It's having more of a selection of shots from inside 100 yards than just hitting a full shot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's clear to see that, you know, for me, you've made great improvement.
Definitely.
But, you know, guys, you have to practice it. And, you know, I hope you've enjoyed that one, guys. And we'll do a little bit more with Jack. And we'll try and get him out on course again soon and see if all this coaching starts to make a difference to your scores. Because, you know, I'm sure it will.
It will do.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in a few days' time. Bye.